Greetings everyone, this is Mr. Mullen. In this short video I just want to try to give you some help with this Newton's second law lab. So in a lot of the graphs you're having to map Newton's second law onto the equation for a line once you get a linear graph. So I just want to refresh your memory. When we're looking at Newton's second law, there's a couple different ways we can do this, and if we're going to map it to y equals mx plus b, it has to be in that form, y equals mx plus b. So if I think about Newton's second law, there's two ways we can write it. Acceleration is equal to the net force divided by the mass. The other way we saw we could write it was F is equal to ma. So there's a couple different ways we can write this. You know, you've got three variables here, so you can write it any way you want. I mean, if I wanted to rewrite this as mass is equal to the net force divided by the acceleration, you know, now I have three different equations, but the problem is the only one that really looks obviously like y equals mx plus b would be this one here. The net force would really nicely map to y. The slope would really nicely map to the mass, and then x would really nicely map to acceleration. But these other two aren't really so obviously in the y equals mx plus b form. So remember, in order to have this y equals mx plus b, m is some bundle of constants, x is a variable that's changing. So if I wanted to rewrite this, I don't have to do anything with mass, but the net force, or the x variable, if that's x and this is y, if I pull this net force out, then what times net force gets me back over here? And the answer is, well, that's just 1 over a. You know, I could do that. So if I can factor out 1 over a, then it's the exact same thing, but now I can map to y equals mx really nicely. Same thing is true here. Acceleration is equal to something, the net force was my changing variable, so that would be my x. That means I need some bundle of constant things for my, my slope. And so what's it going to be? Well, if I factor out 1 over m, I've got the exact same thing written in a different way, but this is going to be much more useful when I look at linearizing graphs. This has been a short podcast on how to help with the Newton's second law lab, figuring out what quantities and how to use your slope values, and I hope that this has been helpful.